What is the best passport in the world? If you're thinking of only traveling and you only care about tourist visas, I can give you the quick answer. It's Italy, Germany, France, Spain in Europe, or Singapore and the UAE. If you're a citizen of one of those 6 countries, you're probably not going to be bit, and you're pretty much going to be able to travel anywhere you want with virtually no hassle. So there you go. You can close the video. But if you want to talk about other passports that might be good for other situations, then you should probably stick around. So like I said, for tourism, any of those 4 European countries, the UAE and Singapore, are going to give you the best visa-free access. That's pretty much been the case for the last few years, and it might change every year. There's different alliances and all that, but the probability that having just any EU passport is going to be great for travel is really, really high, and the probability that Singapore and the UAE remain really, really relevant candidates is also really high. So you can just choose one of those, naturalize. Some of them are going to take a while, some of them are going to be quicker, and there you go. You'll be able to travel anywhere in the world. There's the best for perception as well. So the UAE, Singapore, they're notoriously known for being at ease with everyone. They talk to China and Russia, but they also talk to the US, and they're like fairly neutral. So it's definitely something that you should consider. Within Europe, though, I think especially because of NATO, and especially because of previous colonial past, Spain, France, Germany, Italy, which are the best for visa-free access, they might not be the best for perception. In Europe, I would probably choose Switzerland as the best for perception, as it's viewed as a very peaceful, very neutral country, and it's been neutral for nearly 200 years now, so it doesn't really have a lot of enemies. So if you're looking for country perception with still very good visa-free access, you might consider Switzerland. The third thing you should consider is freedom of movement. If you're a citizen of Singapore, if you're a citizen of UAE, you're not going to have that much freedom of movement. I know with in the case of the UAE, there's a few countries in the Middle East that you can pretty much have freedom of movement with. I think Oman, Saudi Arabia, maybe a couple others. So there you go. If you like the region, if you're from there, it might be relevant for you. Singapore, no. If you're a Singaporean citizen, you're pretty much stuck in one very beautiful, very nice, very calm, very developed island for the rest of your life in terms of living, unless of course you find some sort of work visa or working holiday arrangement or whatever. But overall, in terms of freedom of movement, it's very limited. Of course, any EU passport comes in mind when you talk about freedom of movement. If you're Portuguese, you can move to Lithuania. If you're Croatian, you can move to Norway. So that's very good. But I would reckon that there's one country where freedom of movement is the strongest, and that country is Ireland. The reason I say Ireland is because Ireland is in the EU, and so it has access to all of the EU countries, as well as Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, etc. But it is also part of the common travel area, which means that as an Irish citizen, you can also move to the UK despite Brexit, despite the UK having left the EU. And so for freedom of movement, if that's something you should consider, and also, by the way, a country with great perception and with great visa-free access, you should probably consider Ireland, which is also a country that's not that hard to naturalize in. It would only take 5 years compared to other countries like Italy or Switzerland or Austria, where it actually takes double that or even more for you to actually be able to naturalize. So there you go. For freedom of movement, you should probably consider Ireland. For labor opportunities, that is, to be able to work and be well off and have a good career and have a lot of job opportunities, I'll pretty much rank 2 as top notch here. One of them I already talked about is Switzerland. It is pretty much the richest country in the world. Zurich has a lot of job opportunities. Geneva has a lot of job opportunities, and like I said, it's even different languages. So German, French, it's fairly flexible. A lot of people move to Switzerland, and salaries are normally double of virtually anywhere else in Europe. And the other country that's probably on par with Switzerland, or maybe a little better for labor opportunities, is the US. There's virtually no country in the world that pays what the US does, and the US pays it in such a diverse range of career opportunities. So if you're in finance, if you're in tech, if you're a computer programmer, if you're a doctor, you can just move to the US and get paid 3 to 10 times more of what you're being paid in your home country. And so in terms of pure money, pure career opportunities, pure business opportunities, the US is still probably the best country in the world. Another thing that you should probably consider is ease of naturalization. So where are you going to naturalize the easiest? The country I'm in right now, Australia, is actually notoriously known for being fairly open to immigration. And after 4 years of living in Australia and having permanent residency for at least one, you can become Australian. So it's a fairly easy process if you qualify, of course. Ireland isn't too hard either. It's only 5 years. Sweden is only 5 years. Portugal is only 5 years. If you're Latino American, you can move to Spain, and it would only be 2 years. So there's some countries that are definitely a little easier to naturalize. Some South American countries or Latino American countries, if you give birth there, if you move there and you have some sort of affiliation or connection, it could be very easy for you to naturalize as well. But I think the countries I'm going to mention here in particular are the EU countries I just mentioned, like Belgium, Ireland, Portugal, Sweden. You can have a little Google at it, and it's probably going to be at least 5 years, but 5 years is more or less the minimum that you're going to find. And Australia, which is probably out of the developed countries, the one that requires the lowest. Actually Canada also. So Australia, Canada might be a fairly quick process. I think in Canada you only have to have had PR for 3 years. So if you move in directly with PR, it could be something that's actually fairly quick for you. And that's obviously something you should consider, because if you move, for example, to Switzerland, it's going to take 10 years for you to be able to apply, and then some 3 years for you to actually get the citizenship, if they actually want you to get it, because it's not even guaranteed that you're actually going to get it. So that's definitely something you should consider as well. Obviously, there's combos that you should consider. There's virtually no passport that is so good that no other passport would add something to it. So, like I said, the Swiss passport is great, but if you add Ireland, then you have the UK as well. The Irish passport is great, but if you add Australia, for example, you get Australia, New Zealand, and a couple other visa-free accesses. So it's never going to be the case that having one passport is 100% enough. I would say one of the most interesting passports would be Ireland and the US, or Ireland and Australia, because with Ireland, like I said, you got pretty much all of Europe, and with Australia or the US, you're getting some very interesting other regions with very good pay. Australia has very good pay. The US has probably the best pay in the world, and because of NAFTA also, you can move fairly freely with Canada, which is also a very, very good country. So those are probably the two combos I would be most looking into. If you don't really care about the UK as much, then maybe you should change Ireland for Switzerland, but those are probably the things that you should consider. The best EU passport. I would say the best EU passport is probably the Italian passport, to be fair, or the Irish if you really care about freedom of movement with the UK. Mercosur passport. The best Mercosur passport is probably going to be Brazil, because Brazil has, like I said, in Mercosur, freedom of movement with virtually all of South America. It also is part of the Portuguese-speaking community, so you're going to have easier freedom of movement, not proper freedom of movement, but an easier time moving to Portugal. Obviously, it's also a Latin American country, so you can naturalize in Spain really easily. And there's a bunch of Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa, like Angola, like Mozambique, that also have really very good relations with Brazil. On top of that, Brazil is a part of BRICS, and BRICS obviously is let's say, a different kind of vibe to the whole EU, US, world order kind of thing. And being a citizen of Brazil might give you a little bit of an easier time when you're going to Russia, when you're going to China, when you're going to India, which obviously are countries that are growing a lot, that geopolitically are very interesting to, let's say, at least be neutral with, or especially be friends with. Last but not least, there's the Caribbean community. So Caribbean community is a bunch of islands in the Caribbean, where being a citizen of one island allows you to freely move into the other islands. There's some associate countries in Central America as well, but out of the three top grand freedom of movement kind of schemes, Mercosur, the European Union, and the Caribbean community, I think it's the one with the least relevance, because all the countries are really similar, they're really small, and they're in a very particular part of the world. You're not going to have the cultural or economic variance that you find in South America or in the European Union. And so honestly, you can just pick and choose any. I would say St. Lucia might give you access to that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned. If you have to take anything from this video, it's that the best passport for you is going to depend on what you want to do, on whether you prioritize either naturalization or freedom of movement or visa-free access, and there's never going to be one passport where it's easy to get and it's absolutely perfect, and it has everything, it has good perception, and it has infinite visa-free access, infinite freedom of movement. So you're definitely going to have to sacrifice in certain things and prioritize certain other things to find what is the best combo for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like countries, travel, that sort of thing, you should probably subscribe, and I'll see you guys around.